That's always been the biggest thing. Never have anyone ask me for an update, because that's the worst feeling in the world.
Okay, awesome. So today I'm having a great conversation with my good friend, Michael Waddell. Been with REMAX since 2014. Started his first year, and I'll talk a little bit about that, below 100% club in his first year. And his business blew up. He's now a chairman club level, and likely to be a Titan and Diamond here in the near future as his business continues to grow and learns new efficiencies. And so love to have a great conversation. We're going to talk about the 5 things that blew up Michael's production and his business. And so welcome. Thanks for spending some time with me today, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. And so I like to just get right into it and get the pro tips from the pros. So yeah, let's chat a little bit about, hey, what are those 5 things that blew up your business?
I think the biggest thing that I've always kind of stressed to anyone is just being consistent. It sounds super simple.
Okay.
I don't have any advanced tricks. Everything I do is pretty simple. And the biggest thing is consistency, whether that's showing up at the office every single morning, dressing, as I'm going on appointments, whatever it might be. That's just kind of how I've always run my life. Probably a bit of OCD going on there, but super regimented in basically everything I do. Basically since I got my first job when I was 14, that's the way I've always been.
Okay. And so when you say, like I was picking up a little bit of that, when you say consistency, you're talking about the almost mundane, boring things, but just always, all the time, like without fail. Like, is that your powerful morning routine? Is that just about your marketing? Is it in all aspects? Give me a little bit more insight.
I would say in all aspects. Like, it starts from making my bed first thing in the morning. Like,
okay.
Again, it's probably an OCD thing, but I feel that, with repetition and doing it over time consistently, you're going to see results. I'm not the greatest marketer in the world. I don't have any secrets. I'm very passive when it comes to marketing, but I do everything very consistently with follow-up, whether it's social media, reaching out with past clients, but it's all very consistently.
Okay, love it. Like, yeah, great, solid. It's almost boring, right? Like, it's not that one big massive idea that went crazy. It's was it Darren Hardy, the compound effect, right? Little bit all of the time makes massive difference.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me is just the consistency. Going back to my database, is having a plan in place throughout the whole year to consistently provide them value throughout the year.
Great.
So I don't have the best tips or tricks, or I'm not doing the best at every one of these things, but I'm doing it consistently. I'm trying to do a good job at it. And everything that I implement, I try to do it the same way that I would do everything else.
Right.
So with all my systems in place, checklists, everything never gets missed between me and my assistant, because we're consistently doing the same things. We know what each other's roles are. But yeah, even at the very early stage of my career, I made sure to show up every single day. Going into the second thing, I guess, would be treating it like a business. Is I find a lot of realtors think that real estate's a hobby. They don't treat it like a job. If they weren't working real estate, what would you be doing? You'd be working a 9-to-5 job, 8 hours a day. I feel you should be putting that same amount of time and effort into your real estate business. If you don't have appointments, well, then you should be in the office, either on location or at your home office, trying to find business, working on the business, whatever it might be. So treating it like a business, not a hobby, something I've kind of always, built my business around.
Okay, so and because you're an independent contractor, you wear many hats. You are the CEO, the COO, the CFO, and your number one salesperson, right? And so, is there time dedicated to each of those roles separately, or are they more intertwined?
I think they're more intertwined. Every single day, I know I start my day off with follow-up. Keeping every single client I have engaged in the process. That's the most important thing to me. The follow-up, none of anything else really matters.
Right.
But now that I've grown, I do have more systems in place. So I might wear all these hats, but I have people helping me with those hats,
Right.
whether it's an assistant or a bookkeeper, or an accountant, or whatever it might be. Like I pay people to do those things for me so that I have more time to work on the client side of things.
Right. Because it's because you're a solo agent, but you do have a team, right? It's not like you don't have this big sales team with 20 agents doing deals for you, but you have a team of support, right? Like that help you do what you're great at, right? Which is manage the clients and take care of their needs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a salesperson. I'm not an assistant. I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper. That's not my specialty, and that's not what I enjoy doing. So
Yeah.
I was kind of someone had told me something before, buying back your time. And I used to be my own bookkeeper. I used to try to prepare everything for my accountant, and I hated it. I would never do it. I was always late doing it. So now I just pay someone to do it. I'm buying
Yeah.
back my time. And having a family and having kids, I can't be focusing on these very mundane small tasks that aren't going to really generate me any revenue.
Right. They don't fill you up with joy either, right? So
No, I don't enjoy it.
cool. Yeah. So I love that mindset. Hey, this is your business. This is your business, right? So treat it like such. I love
Yeah,
that.
and you're not going to pocket every dollar that you make. You should have know going into it that some of the profit you're making is going towards paying for some of these things so that you can grow. And without having help, like going to, I hired an assistant 2 years ago, and I went through one assistant. It didn't really work out very well, but with my new assistant, it's been awesome, seamless. I think that's really what helped me to grow last year in my business, which was a record year. Because I had that support. I wasn't doing it all myself. Whereas before I was doing, let's say 60 deals on my own with no support. And you're spending a lot of time doing all this paperwork, and you're not really focusing on the client portion of it. And I know that my service started to slip over time.
Right. Okay. Good to have that awareness too, right? That reflect. And I think having that opportunity to, I guess, review and reflect kind of plays into your number 3, I think, right?
Yeah. So a few years, I don't even know how long I've been coaching, but I've gone through a local coach here in the Edmonton area that didn't really work out very well. And then I took coaching with Richard Robbins, which is one of the bigger coaches across Canada, and a little more Canadian based as well, which is kind of why I chose that. But it's just for accountability. I grew up playing sports all my life, and you always have a coach. So it's having a business coach is no different than having a hockey coach or anything like that. So I've always built or thought of that as kind of like an athlete mentality, because you're only going to see what you see. Everyone else sees different things out of you, like your blind spots and whatnot. So that has been probably one of the biggest light bulbs that have gone off in my business in terms of growing it and treating it like a real business, is having that coach. And that's probably what has helped me grow to 50 or almost double my business in 2 years, essentially. So
yeah, because so when you started your first year, how many deals did you do your first year?
So I got licensed in like June of 2014, and I did it part-time between June to, I think it was February of 2015. I did like 6 deals. And I had a pretty good job. I was making 6 figures, and what I knew at some point I had to leave that job in order to be successful in real estate. So I just decided to do it. I had money in the bank, savings to live off of. And then that year, from basically March 2015 to the end of the year, I finished, I think, with 44 deals. So just putting in the time and effort and treating it like a real business has really impacted the development and growth of my career.
Great. Cool. Number 4.
Having an assistant. I think, as realtors, we often feel we can do everything ourselves. We can, probably shouldn't. But the realization that someone else is probably better to do these things was a huge eye opener for me. I was super against having an assistant for many years because I could do everything myself and I could do it better. but having the right person in place has made the biggest difference in the world. Like being able to do something like this and not stressing about what do I need to get done, just because we have systems and checklists and everything in place. And I built a lot of that stuff prior to having an assistant, which made it a little bit easier. But now nothing gets missed. And I like to feel that my level of service towards my clients is probably higher than what most other agents are now because of it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think, there is that little misconception out there that as a solo agent, you can just do everything yourself and do it better. But like you said, some of those teams have the systems in place so that they can actually have an elevated level of service, comparatively speaking, right? And I think that probably plays into the confidence when you're meeting with a client and your ability to, hey, here's all of the cool shit that I do to help you sell your home or help you buy a home, right? Where a lot of that's getting done in the background and you're the face-to-face, right?
Yeah, last year, so beginning of last year, I made a goal to never have a client reach out to me asking me for an update. And there was one point when I was going through the assistant changeover that my service was starting to slip. And I had one client reached out for me like, hey, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a week. And I was like, oh no. And then since then with the new assistant, we hardly have anyone ever reaching out for an update because we're super proactive on it every single week or every single day, depending on the situation. Is to never have, that's always been the biggest thing. Never have anyone ask me for an update because that's the worst feeling in the world.
I love that. And just when you articulate it and you draw that line in the sand, right? It's like, hey, this is something that is unacceptable in my business. This is a non-negotiable. It's not okay for a client to call for an update. We should be ahead of them. I think once you even, I guess, bring that from your mind and articulate it, now it makes it real. So that when it happens, you see it and it just burns you and just like, hey, how do we level up, right? And setting expectations of the client is also important, right?
But exactly. And going backwards to the coaching part of it, we had gone through at one point to try to figure out what all of our buyers and sellers' pain points were through the transaction, and one of them was updates, keeping up to date, what's going on. Because anytime you ever take over a listing from another agent, I always ask, what didn't work? And lots of times, we never heard from him or her, whatever the deal might be. That's just I know how it is when I'm the customer or the client and, people aren't getting back to me. Even when I refer someone out to another agent, like I want to know what's going on. I want to know how you're servicing. I want to know, if they're responding to and whatnot. So being up to date, I think is super important.
Yeah. It's the number one complaint about real estate professionals.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So the fact that you didn't know about it, but you made it a real priority in your business just shows how aware you are of your business and what your clients' needs are. But it's the number one complaint from the public about real estate professionals. Is that
good to know?
Yeah, it's good.
Doing something right.
You're doing a lot of things right, Michael. I appreciate that. And number 5.
Yeah, as corny as it sounds, just having a why. Like, why are you in this? Money being the biggest thing. Obviously, everyone loves to make a lot of money, but none of it's worth it if you don't have someone to go home to, whether that's a wife or a husband or children. And going back to, I think one of the reasons why I'm so consistent in everything I do is because I grew up with nothing. Like I remember having to get a job when I was 14 to pay rent, to help my mom pay the bills. So I think that's probably where my work ethic came from, is I've been working since I don't know, I'm 36 now and it's been 22 years. So working for more than half my life. So not wanting my kids to ever go through something like that, where you're worried about the gas being shut off when you're in junior high or whatever it might be. Right. So that's been the biggest why, and why I probably work as hard as I do. And, going forward, I have different challenges in my business now. Is, do I want to bring on someone like to help me with buyers and whatnot? So I'm home more with the kids. So that's something that I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in my business. And it's because of my family. So,
right.
Working every single evening and every weekend is not an option for me anymore. So figuring out those, no matter what stage of your business you're in, there's always going to be different challenges. And, just think back to your why, and, that'll probably help you make those decisions.
Yeah, that's good. And we talked, and because you are very busy and you're a very productive agent, but you still have some non-negotiables again with like your schedule. So you have time where you're not working. You are personal time, family time, whatever that is. And I think the only, situation maybe that would get interrupted is in a, negotiation situation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, I probably have to do a better job at maybe not answering the phone when I'm with the kids. So it's just a good reminder. But yeah, it's, for me, going back to, my kids are right now, they're 6 months, 3 and 5 years old. So I'm a few years away before they're in sports every single evening. So I got to make a decision what I want to do and how I want to proceed with my business as well. So.
But it's, it's clear that you've set a really great foundation for treating your business, your why, you have the coaching accountability, you have that infrastructure and that base put down, that decisions that you make about your business will be in line with your core values in mind. And I think that, even if you reduced your production to take care of your family, you'd feel still really great about that because it's the right decision for you and your business, right?
Yeah, it's always a work in progress. Like it's not perfect. Like my work-life balance isn't perfect, but we try to make boundaries there, and that way you're not working every evening, or you're not working both days on the weekend, or whatever it might be, or you're always there for the events or the important parts.
Right. I love that. I can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes with us today and sharing some gospel information. I think it's every agent could take a piece of this and apply it to their business would be good things. And I think we've talked a lot. It's just like, take action, right? Don't do all this busy work that you feel like you're doing. Take those action steps and you'll see a result from that.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents they feel that there's too much going on anytime they go to a conference and they have all these ideas, but they don't know where to start. And I know you and I have chatted about this before, but just choose one thing, perfect it, and then move on to the next thing. It's simple. Like, none of this is mind-blowing or life-changing, but it's very simple with just being consistent and treating your business like a business, and just get good at something before you move on to the next thing.
Yeah, love that. So yeah, thanks again. I won't take up any more of your time. Appreciate you very much. I really look forward to seeing how you continue to grow and also inspire others around you. It's great having you on board here. Appreciate it, Michael.
Anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Be well. Talk to you soon.